Hello, everybody, and welcome out to the Pod of War podcast. This is your weekly amble of madness from the gang from Brand Wars. I'm, of course, Yukisma, joined forever and always by Master Das Chris Mingeli.
Hello, everyone. Too sweet.
Too sweet indeed. And Xbox Live's
That's a
own.
copyright.
I know, we talked about this before. Xbox Live's own CW Lanky.
Hello.
Because that's what you are, mate. You're the Major Nelson of this show because you don't believe there is any other gaming companies out there.
I don't know any. So
Surely he's
people
the
keep
snow-
talking about this studio. Is it the studio?
Studio, nice. I like that.
Who
That's a good
knows?
joke. Like you fucking
Surely
scumbag.
he's the snow bike Mike. Of
He's
this podcast.
when he starts streaming Warzone, that'll be the dream. But anyway, in this weekly show, we talk about bollocks and general shenanigans. Eventually, we're going to talk about wrestling, but not today because me and Craig haven't got the energy for our top 10 girls of AEW video that we're going to do at some point. So, guys,
Did they even have 10 women on the roster?
well, I said 5, and yes, you absolute misogynist bastard. Anyway, so guys, what have you been playing? Let's start off with Craig because it's always fun to start off with Craig.
I'm a bit distracted. Sorry. What is that on your chair,
You
Bengals?
finally realised as well. Okay,
What is that?
that is a picture of Hideo Kojima.
You fucking faggot. Right. Sorry, that was completely bothering me the whole time. What have I been playing?
Yeah,
I have been playing. I played a bit of Haven at the start of the week,
nice.
which was a Xbox Game Pass game that came out. I think it came out at the same time as Call of the Sea.
Mm.
It's a kind of French make on a Japanese. It's like a weird RPG action game. It's quite good fun. It's very, I don't know how to say it, kind of seedy, if that makes sense. It's very French. You can tell, but yeah.
Wow, so you've been homophobic and racist so far, so that's not bad. That's not a bad start to a show.
I don't know if I'd say it's homophobic. I'd say it's but yeah, it's about, you play as, I think it's actually a co-op game. But
Yeah,
you
you
play
can
as
play
these
co-op.
two lovers as they land on this planet, trying to escape the world. But yeah, it's kind of turn-based. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's probably quite as good as Call of the Sea. I don't think as many
Doesn't
people
sound
played it
very
as
Craigie,
Call of the
if I'm
Sea.
honest with you.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't very Craigie, but it's it's good to play something different. And I finished that.
Actually, I've been playing a bit of that today, actually. Oddly.
I just see you playing it earlier.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thought it, Spangy?
Yeah, it's not bad.
7.5.
I think I mentioned it before to Dave. It sort of reminds me of Gravity Rush with the whole cleaning stuff up.
Yeah,
You have
it
to
looked
go
it looked
through,
kind of journey-ish to me, but I really have barely. I saw a trailer at an Xbox Inside Xbox thing, I think, a couple of months ago. But
It's very chill. You spend a lot of time
Yeah.
just kind of gliding around, just picking up this. I think they call it rust, and you just kind of
Yeah.
pick it up and click. You have little islets that are covered in rust, and you just clean them up. I don't know, it's very relaxing. And it looks very pretty as well, so that's what's
perfect
nice.
for Game Passing, isn't it?
So I finished that, and then I moved on to Immortals: Phoenix Rising, which I picked up for. It's down to £30 already, which is just madness.
Yeah.
Not that old, obviously, and it is really, really good. I know, shocking for a Ubisoft game. I know, can't go saying that sort of thing. I know, but it is. It is.
You bring
it really
all the
is.
sass this week. There's a lot of sass going on this week.
Obviously, I didn't play Breath of the Wild, which is supposedly a clone of, so I have no context for that at all.
One of the best games of all time, undisputedly.
One of
So,
the most rated games of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure Chris will love this then, because obviously he owns it, but I'm sure there's a reason he bought it, definitely.
oh yeah, Chris
but yeah,
has
no,
bought
it's
it.
really good.
That's the-
Pardon?
Yeah.
Chris
What do you
has
say,
Phoenix
Dave?
as well. Chris has bought it as well. Hasn't
Yeah.
played it,
Oh,
though,
yeah.
have you, Chris?
I played the
The Stadia demo.
on Stadia demo, which is its own separate island and mission. Played that, really enjoyed that. So I picked it up. I haven't played it yet.
You'll get there, I'm sure, Peggy.
Yeah, man.
It's on my
We'll
list.
get there.
It's on the
It's
list.
on the list.
And you just made.
But yeah, no, it's good. I've been completely waylaid on it. I'm literally just going to points on the map instead of doing anything at this point.
The Ubisoft game. I see. I
Yeah,
see how you've got
Oh,
your
yeah.
hooks into me now.
But it's really satisfying. It's got like loads of little puzzles that aren't too hard, so you can kind of chill and do them. And it's got like different sort of collectibles, like guarded chests, stuff like in Assassin's Creed. But yeah, it's really good, to be fair.
Yeah, and especially because you haven't played Breath of the Wild as well. Like, it's such a fresh like that type of game's kind of exploded in the last couple of years since Breath of the Wild. The kind of like crazy go anywhere RPG. So it's good to get some more Ubisoft goodness before they provide us with a Star Wars game in a few years' time.
Yeah, I was going to say the biggest other one I can think of, similar to Breath of the Wild, is Genshin Impact, but hasn't come to Xbox or Switch.
No, and it is
so I
another
haven't played it.
anti-Craig game. It is a pure like anime RPG. So Craig loves those anime girls, to be fair. So, Pengy, what have you been playing?
What have I been playing? I played some more Football Manager.
Game of the year. Carry on.
Yeah, Game of the Year. I've won my third league title in a row with Salzburg, so it was actually quite close in the end. Went down to Lens last game of the season.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. So, got that draw, won the title, got offered the Leipzig job, so I'm now managing Leipzig.
Gone for the Red Bull challenge, I see.
yeah, weird one. So, play some more of that. Play some Haven today, like Craig mentioned earlier. Then I started Cyberpunk.
2077. So what are you playing Cyberpunk on? I suppose is always the first question.
I'm playing it on Series X, and I'm playing it in quality mode.
Nice.
Because the frame rate doesn't stick to 60 frames a second in the frame rate mode. So I've gone for a fixed 30.
That's fair. I mean, it's sensible. How are you finding it?
Yeah, I've not had any. It looks good. Some of the some of the like facials and stuff look really good. So that's good. A lot of the missions seem pretty much the same. They always seem to end in a car chase. I don't know why, but that they do like their car chases in the game. I've not had any bugs or crashes or anything like that. The only funny yes, I'm like 7 hours in. The only funny thing I've had is it's right at the start. One of the elevators, Jackie just walked right through it. Obviously you had to wait for the elevator doors to open, but that's no worse I've seen in a Bethesda game or anything from like you've seen from like Fallout 4 and that. It seems way more polished, but obviously we've had quite a few patches.
Yeah, I think we're on hotfix number 6 now, right?
And obviously I'm playing it on Series X as well. That helps. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. Like I said, I've not had any problems in like the bugs and crashes, which a lot of reviews for console versions seem to be. PC versions obviously seem to be much positive, but it does seem quite a generic, well made, in my case, RPG. There's nothing particularly special so far, apart from like, it's Keanu Reeves in a game. That seems like to be the most special thing about it so far.
And obviously, the Kojima cameo is obviously your favourite part of the game.
So Kojima makes a cameo in the game.
Very excited at that point.
And
I hope we can kill him. I hope I can just unload a LMG on him.
Was there a romance option?
No, there was no romance.
Did you try though?
It's a damn shame. Isn't it?
You can only say like hi to him.
Oh, Kojima-san.
Obviously, there's a whole thing. Obviously, he talks Japanese, but it translates on the screen automatically. Sort of thing, so it shows you in Japanese and then it changes to English, so you can read what he says. And it does that with other characters, like Jackie speaks a lot of Spanish, but the subtitles will say what it is in Spanish and then change straight to like English. It's like a weird heads up display and sort of thing. So that's quite neat. Yeah, it's good, but I don't get why it got like 9s and 10s on PC.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the PC crowd, aren't they? So it's reviewed on PC. I imagine it's reviewed on like the state of the art. Everything is perfect PC.
Yeah.
Like we're going to talk about Cyberpunk more later
better.
without spoiling some of the stuff later.
Pardon?
We'll talk about some more Cyberpunk later in the topic of the show.
Okay.
But Yeah, so that's
I was
interesting.
going
Like,
to say, like,
go on.
last year I played, let's say, Outer Worlds, which looks worse in considering Series X, but it's way more fun and interesting, varied missions to what I've played in Cyberpunk, which, like I said, seems quite forward and generic, like I said so far. But
Yeah,
things might change.
from everything I've seen, it does look like a finished game. That's that's probably why there's a lot of similar missions, I'd imagine. But again, we'll talk about it later. As for me, because this is going to be the shortest bit, because obviously I've been working a week. Craig's obviously had a week off because he's a scumbag, and Penky's just had 3 days off because he's also a scumbag. I played like a couple hours of Fire Emblem Free Houses. Still enjoying that game. It's still great.
Have you got to the time jump yet?
No, I think I'm just before the time jump. Like, I'm just before the time jump, I think. And the only other thing I've played, and Craig didn't mention it, I'm sure he did that on purpose, is we played Hive Busters together and co-op, me and Craig, for Gears 5. And
we finish it this week? Didn't we? Started it last week.
Yeah. So we finished it this week. It's very short. It's only, I think it takes like 3 hours, maybe 2 hours. But it was good. It was fun. It was for essentially for 90% of players a free DLC to a free game. It was good. The characters were good. The set pieces were pretty fun. The pretty good mechanic of being able to upgrade your characters. I think it could actually do with being a little bit longer. But again, for what it was a fun experience. Obviously, me and Craig like playing that kind of stuff in co-op anyway. The amount of Gears games we played in co-op now.
I wonder if they take some of that stuff into like Gear 6, like you could upgrade Kate and whoever your character.
That's if there is a Gear 6.
Well, they started it in 5, didn't they?
Yeah, because you can upgrade
with,
Jack.
Upgrading Jack,
and all that.
having abilities and all that sort of thing. So.
But I kind of feel like, me and Craig talked about this privately, I kind of feel like there is going to be more of that type of DLC from Gears. I don't think they're ready for a Gears 6. I think they kind of want to flesh out some characters and some ideas so that Gears 6 is really sort of like this big game for the studio. Because like I said, with Game Pass, you could just do a standalone. You didn't even have to tack it onto Gears 5 if you don't want to. You could just do a standalone Gears story about Hoffman in the Unification Wars or something. Like, you know what I mean? You can do stuff like this now. So I hope they do, because it's fun to be in Gears and shoot people in the head. So, as you can tell, I've just worked a 10-hour shift, so there's a little bit low energy, but I'll try and pick it back up. So we're going to go into the topic of the show. Pengy, do the song.
Toss.
That's the topic of the show song there. Craig's very impressed. So the topic of the show this week is the most anticipated games of 2021. Obviously, we mentioned it last week. Obviously, next week we're going to go back to doing the news and just a general topic of the show like we did before. But this is the last sort of get to know how to podcast episode. So, I tasked the boys of getting 3, and yes, that's right, 3 games that they're anticipated for that are coming this year. Now, the only caveats were that it has to have at least a tentative date for 2021. Obviously, with COVID, it's difficult for... There's not as many games as there normally are that have hard-ish dates. Like, usually there's quite a lot by now.
This week, news-wise, be moved. Like, Hogwarts is now 2022, for instance.
And Riders Republic got delayed. Yeah, and you've got...
February got delayed.
Like, Nintendo were just announcing games left, right, and centre just because they don't give a shit. Nintendo were just like, oh, game's coming out in 2 weeks. Chill, boys. You're like, oh, thanks, Nintendo. So that was the caveats I gave to the boys. So we're going to start with Craig, because obviously Craig, I'm feeling quite a lot of Xbox with Craig, so we'll start with Craig.
Oh yeah, mine will be all Xbox. So I have another Penguins pick from last week. I'll get that out of the way first.
Nice.
So the first one will be Cyberpunk 2077, and that will be when it's actually finished and we have a next-gen version. Because at the moment, I've refused to acknowledge that that game even exists, to be honest with you. Until it's all
what
fixed.
I wanted to do. You literally copied me.
Once that game is actually fixed and running and enhanced and ray tracing and all of that good stuff, then I want to dive in and play it. At the moment, I have absolutely no interest in playing it.
And I am exactly the same. That's why it was on my list. So it counts. We can pengy it by saying that there'll probably be a boxed PS5 version and an updated Series X and
Series X
of course there will. Yeah.
The only thing, obviously, their announcement. They had one this week. Obviously, like the plan going forwards, 1.1 and 1.2 are very soon, so that should be the game done in theory. And then obviously it's free DLC to come, and then it's the next gen update, which is obviously going to improve things. Like I said, I had the silly thing with Jackie with the elevator, but it's not going to change like the missions or the story though. This is going to make that look better. From what I've played so far, you know, there's not suddenly going to add like Act 3 after Act 2 in between the current Act 3. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think the problem with it is like it's such a hyped up game that, and we know there's going to be a better version of that game coming. So it's like I might as well just wait. Like Craig's like me, I think there's nothing so special about what I've seen so far that I want to dive in immediately. But I mean, the game could be amazing when I play it, because I've seen reviews that say that. But it's not. It's, you know what I mean. It's not that. It's not that game that's like, you know what, I need to take a risk and spend £50 on this now. When realistically, you might be able to get a second-hand copy for half that in probably not that long. Probably in the next couple of months, you'd probably be able to pick up Cyberpunk on Xbox for like 25 quid and be like, wicked, that can just wait until it's ready, you know. So I can understand that pick, Craig. I can, because I was too going to make that pick, so I now have to scramble. And
you can tell we don't share beforehand.
Yeah, I mean, even though we did, because I told you this when we were playing something the other day. So you have betrayed me, Craig. You've stabbed me in the back. So we're going to go from
your choice?
What?
Dave.
My choice.
What is your choice?
Oh, look at that, Pengy jumping on the host train. Big fan of that. Even though I've just told him I've got to scramble for a new one. So with scrambling in mind, my first anticipated game for PS4 and for Switch is Persona 5 Strikers. Now, which is a weird one because I haven't actually finished Persona 5 yet, but I will. I really will. I really will.
Have we started going back to it yet? Or?
Yeah, it's installed on my PS4. I'll start it tomorrow.
It's a step.
Yeah, so it just looks like an interesting take on the Dynasty Warriors sort of system, because it is using a lot of Persona like kind of turn-based combat, like the way it sets up stuff, and obviously it's a very beautiful, like stylized game. I'm probably going to pick up on PS4 purely for performance over the Switch. I have both options, so I might as well just take the best option, and of course I can earn trophies, and trophies and achievements makes me play games more. So Nintendo should figure this shit out, really. Imagine if there was Mario Kart achievements. Anyway, it just looks interesting as a Dynasty Warriors game, because I like the Hyrule Warriors and the Dynasty Warriors games, and I'm just like, I could play a really anime Japanese version of this. I think that'd be sweet. And it's got a date, and it's coming out fairly soon, so that's why it's
23rd of February.
23rd of February. I have it pre-ordered. It's one of the two games I have pre-ordered. The other one is not on this list, which is funny. But yeah,
I'd be excited for that one as well. I'd be getting it on the old Switch.
Yeah, because as we've discussed in our group chat, you're not a PlayStation fan, so you wouldn't play anything on PlayStation.
No,
it's a shame. It is a shame. Obviously, Craig's obviously going to play this on PC or something, on an emulator. So, what's your thoughts on Persona 5 Strikers?
Onto my phone or something, I'm sure.
So fun with Craig and his lack of anything but Xbox.
Yeah.
If people actually watch this show, it's going to be like, you're going to have all the Xbox fanboys like, Craig's the best, man. Everyone else is like, he's an idiot. He's an idiot.
Well, he's gone for his first choice was a multi-format game, you know? Anyone can play that game.
No, but in Craig's mind, it's not a multi-format game. It's an Xbox game. There is no other format, Pengy. There is only...
You play that in your Stadia?
Yeah, it's the best version.
It actually runs well on Stadia. That's the tragedy.
There you go.
So
the 5 people that own it, it's great.
You are not making friends in this episode, are you? You are not making friends. So, Pengy, obviously, speaking of Stadia, what is your first pick?
Right, my first pick. I had 5 on my list. 2
You're
I
not
may
having them.
mention. I may mention later. See what you guys have gone for.
No, I will meet you.
I've sort of gone for a Bengals pick here, but it
Chris
is a
Peg yelling
new
over a
game.
Bengals pick. What next?
But it is a new game.
Is it going to be
for
Mass Effect
console.
Trilogy? Okay, if you say Mass Effect
New
Trilogy, I'm going
game
to go around your house and punch you in the face.
It's a new game for console. Actually, that's the Mass Effect's complete edition.
Oh, terribly sorry.
It's new for console, but
Okay,
it's
that
not a new
counts.
game.
That counts. That's
It's
fine.
Disco Elysium: The Final Cut.
And what console is that coming to?
It's coming in March to PlayStation and Stadia, and then summer to Xbox and Switch. And PC owners will get a free update to the Final Cut.
So tell everyone what Disco Elysium is then, bud.
It's like a top-down RPG. It won numerous awards in 2019, I believe.
Yeah.
I believe it's 2019. I've not played it because it's on PC and I don't play much on PC. Even though
You do have a gaming laptop, though, don't you, Chris? That you can play
I
on?
do, because when my old laptop, which we actually talked about in the pre-show, because I was going to have the Tots theme tune,
The pre-show's coming live.
doesn't actually work, so I did buy a gaming laptop to replace it instead of a bog standard laptop to replace it. So I could have already played it, but it is coming to consoles. It's going to have voice acting as well in the Final Cut. The current version doesn't have that. Don't know if that's going to be better or worse, because sometimes voice acting can be terrible and sometimes it can be good.
It can.
I might actually play it on Stadia as well, as we talked about earlier, because March, like I said, PS4 and Stadia, and there's PS5 version.
You don't have a
as well.
PS4 or PS5, do you? I suppose that would be why.
So it sort of depends when it comes out in March. If it comes out like the same day as Monster Hunter, then I'm going to wait until the Xbox release in summer. But if it comes out like 2nd of March, then I will mostly pick it up on Stadia and be playing that on that.
Because obviously one thing I need to point out, obviously, if you're new to this show, you will not know. If you used to watch this show, you will know, is that Chris Pengelly buys every single game, without fail. He's bought Disney Princess Ponies 1 and 2. He's really into the Barbie Playhouse games. But Pengy buys every game. So he does have to, in his mind, he's got a calendar. It's just out of shot behind the Man City thing of how long he's got to beat each game. So God help him if, Monster Hunter takes more than 15 hours. That's going to really ruin the schedule, isn't it, Pengy?
Yeah, well, Disco Elysium's actually quite long, so even if it came early March, might not finish it before Monster Hunter.
What a shame, I'm sure.
It's quite a long. It's a very PC-looking game as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised at that one, Penguin. I'll be honest with you. I know it won a lot of awards and was highly rated. That doesn't strike me as a Penguins game.
No, it strikes me as I'll probably play it on Game Pass in 2 years. That's probably my best hope for something like that. I never really gel with the top-down games. I used to code top-down games a lot, and I never really get on with them. I've tried Torchlight. Torchlight 3's just come to Game Pass, which is pretty good, but again, I just never does anything for me. Diablo never did anything for me either. So, but that's interesting, Pinky. That wasn't what I was expecting from you, if I'm honest. So, okay, Craig, number 2.
Number 2. Oh, it's my list. Right, I'm going to go for something that's coming out in a week, 2 weeks.
I think I know what it is.
It's either going to be Hitman
It is.
or Medium.
It's definitely not Hitman, I can say that. Fuck stealth. It's the Medium. Obviously straight to Game Pass, which is always good for a Xbox fan boy like it. It looks interesting. It's by Blooper, who did the Blair Witch game. Came out, was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, it was last year.
It was last year.
It was last.
Was it
last year. That was
I
again
don't know.
straight to Game Pass.
Last year was an absolute haze at this point.
I think it was
Might
the
be
start of last year. So.
It might have been late 2019.
Screw 2020.
Yeah, it might have been saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed that, even though it took some weird liberties with Blair Witch. But who cares about that at this point? So yeah, it kind of looks old school Resident Evil, but without much actual combat. I'm gonna guess because their games don't tend to have combat. So I guess it will all be how good the story is, how good the puzzles are, and that sort of thing. But yeah, hopefully it's good.
Looks very Silent Hill-y.
Yeah, I was going to say it's
Yeah.
a homage to Silent Hill. I almost put it on here, but I just thought it was coming out sort of too soon.
Never come too soon, Pengles.
I thought
Well, there's discussions to be had with females about that, boys. Or males, whatever you're into.
we'll be talking about that game in a week or two. So I decided not to put it on. Yeah,
You
but
chivalrous man, Chris Pengelly.
I'm really excited for it because it does look like old school Silent Hill, and they even got the composer from Silent Hill 2 that back on there, and a few of other people that worked on Silent Hill on the game. So
Yeah, I
if it's
considered
just gonna
downloading
help
it,
you-
and then I watched the trailer, and I was like, no. So yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah, it does. It does look spooky, to be
Yeah,
fair.
it's
Well,
the
that's
first
also
real
good.
big
See,
Series
with
X game
the
as well.
one
So.
that's a Game Pass, you can already install it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a 23 gig pre-install. Because I have
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine who's he was a PlayStation fan, and I hope he's watching. But he's just purchased and received a Series S, almost exclusively to play Game Pass games like the Medium, because he's a big Resident Evil fan. So
Yeah.
it works,
That's
you know.
also,
It works.
that's also one of its. Obviously, it's a Series X and Series S exclusive, so it's the first sort of like next gen game for Xbox. Looks like it sort of is. The developers are saying the SSD is why it can load 2 worlds at the same time, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
for that.
so you'd have to load a lot of data into the memory. Like that's the thing. Like the throughput would not be good enough on a even a 1X. Just the nature of that, it'd be so painful to play. So, it looks like the idea looks really cool. It looks very tech demo-y. So I hope it's more than just a tech demo.
Yeah. And I was also going to say the homage to Silent Hill could be a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I'm excited because it's a homage to Silent Hill, but I could play it and be like, yeah, this isn't as good as Silent Hill 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think every game's like that, though, isn't it? Really, like every game is similar to something else. But my only worry with it is because it's purely on Xbox, is it will probably review badly because obviously no one likes
Please
Xbox.
don't, I got it on Fantasy League.
No one likes to review Xbox games well, and I say that as a man who owns every single console and always has. But it's hard not to notice, really, sometimes. But we'll see. You never know; it might come out and
It
get
will
10.
get the rubber stamp of the 7, won't it?
7.5 from IGN. Too much spooky. So that's another Game Pass pick for Craigo. He's a man that knows what he's on about. So Pengy, have a go.
Oh, not back to you, Dave.
No, you can go, mate. I've got to think about the one
okay.
I've had taken. So.
Okay. So my next one is for Switch, and it's a Switch exclusive, and that's Shin Megami Tensei 5.
Ah, Shin Megami Tensei. I, for one, do not think this is coming this year. But go on.
It's supposed to come summer 2021. That is the current date for
Nope.
it. But we haven't actually got a date for some number 3 HD yet in the West. So, and 5 is supposed to be a worldwide release. So
Yeah, I
that
would
could
be
a bit
very
dodgy.
surprised if 5 comes this year.
So I'm excited for it because you were just obviously talking about Persona. I'm excited because Persona was originally a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei. Now it's like its own series, mostly bigger than the actual
Yeah,
main
I'd say
series
so.
now.
I'd say it's bigger than Shin Megami Tensei.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I want to play it. It's like a dark Persona from what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
Persona's
it
good.
usually has a lot less of the social features. That's really the main difference between the sort of main games. Because 3 Nocturne is just like a hard ass Persona. It's I mean, it might be too turn-based for Craig, but Nocturne is very Devil May Cry and that kind of thing, like Nier Automata, like that kind of weird, futuristic post-apocalypse, as opposed to like anime girls, which is kind of what Persona is. Like Persona is just anime girls, whereas Shin Megami Tensei tends to just be demons and stuff.
Yeah, it's much darker. I haven't played any of the previous one, but it uses the Final
Did you not even
Fantasy
play
architect.
the ones on 3DS?
Yes.
No.
No, I haven't.
Oh, they're good.
It uses the Final Fantasy logic, so 5 is not a sequel to 4. 4 Apocalypse is a sequel to 4, so it doesn't really matter if I've not played any of the
Yeah,
others.
so it'll be. I mean, I'd be surprised if it's not a good game. Again, another game that Craig knows a lot about. We've had 2 Shin Megami Tensei games so
and they
far.
have
So,
Final Fantasy.
Have these like never come to the West, or is this the first one
No,
in the
they
West? 'Cause I've heard of Persona a lot, obviously, but I've never heard of this.
Yeah, they have come to the West, but mainly on the 3DS in recent years. And
The
odd few on
originals
PS3.
came to PS1 and stuff. It's just they're not big sellers. They're
No.
the Persona spin-off is basically the first one that actually sold well. Persona
4.
3 and 4, yeah, 3, 4, and 5. And when I say sell well, like Persona 4 sold like a couple million. It wasn't a huge game. So it took a while to sort of come over. But the Shin Megami Tensei games have been around since I think it was Super Nintendo, right? The first ones.
Mm.
Yeah. That definitely didn't come out over here. But they've been on 3DS for a while. I'm pretty sure the spin-off games have been on PS2, PS1 as well. I think
Yeah,
Persona was on PS1.
Don't know if we got Persona, but don't think Shin Megami Tensei 1.
Nocturne
that
was over
was
here
NES.
because it was called Lucifer's Call because I
Yeah.
played it back in the day.
Yeah, I
and
think the first one we got was
Devil Driver Saga, something like that.
Yeah, I think the first one we got was free on PS2.
On PS2, yeah, and then 4 on this.
And
But
then 4 was on 3DS.
yeah, they're
And it's
they're
like sequel.
hardcore turn-based JRPGs. They're like, if you like I said, if you're gonna like a JRPG, you would probably like it. 'Cause it's not anime. It's kind of like trying to think of a game, like a Western game, which is kind of similar to, like, kind of like The Witcher, I guess, in the kind of like, it's not in gameplay, but in terms of like its sort of world building, like it's kind of like dingy and gross. You know what I mean? Like it's like in The Witcher, like everything's like demonic and dead and stuff. Whereas it's kind of like that in Persona as well. In Shin Megami Tensei as well. It's very sexual because the Japanese are weird as well. There's lots of
CD.
lots of penis-shaped monsters, a vagina-shaped monster as well, if you can. But yeah, Shin Megami Tensei 5 not coming out this year. Let's just say that.
It's down for some time. I hope it comes out. I have it on Fantasy League, and I'm excited for it. So
We really should do a fantasy league of our own. It'd be hilarious. So for me, pick number 2. It's not an Xbox game because why would I play an Xbox game with my Xbox hoodie on and my Xbox trousers on? It's another PlayStation game actually, which is I'm sorry, Craig. It is Horizon Forbidden West, which I'm not sure it will come this year. It could be that or God of War is going to get pushed.
I think Horizon will definitely come this year.
If one of them is,
We've
it will be
seen
that
more
one.
of that, haven't we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's coming to PS4, which is usually a
PS4.
good sign, which means it's they're not going to hang on to the PS4 for that long, I don't think, because they're selling PS5s fine at the minute, aren't they? So,
So you're going to play this on your PS4, or is this going to be the Dave barring a break day and he buys the PS5?
I mean, if I'm honest, I said 2 episodes ago that I would definitely want to buy a PS5 this year. I reckon I could buy a PS5 by next week
Nice.
if I saw one. Like that's the kind of one, the kind of person I am, and 2, the kind of mood I'm in at the minute. Like I'm just waking up in the morning like, oh, do I want to go to work or do I want to spend 500 quid on something I don't need? Why not do both? I think I'll probably play it on PS5 if I'm honest. If I'm being really honest, I think I'll because it's not going to come till at least the summer. And we're going to have we're going to have a wicked bonus and my 31st birthday before that. So, and we're still going to, realistically, boys, we're still going to be corona'd up, right? So I'm saving quite a lot of money by not doing anything. So I could see a PS5 and Horizon Forbidden West.
Also, if you play it on PS5, you won't have to listen to your PS4.
Yeah, if I ever stream my PS4, we'd be able to hear it from over here, because it's in a different continent at this point, because it's ridiculous. But I mean, I love Horizon Zero Dawn. Like, Horizon Zero Dawn is legitimately my favorite PS4 game. Like, it's worth the whole console that I paid for was worth that game. Got the platinum in it. Love the DLC. Love the main game. It's just so good. It's the best, like, Assassin's Creed type game. Really, it really is. Like, it's not too long. The collectibles are fun to get. I think I talked about this last week or the week before. Like, that game is just incredible. So the thought of a sequel with a bit more depth, it looks like you can go underwater and stuff, which is cool. There's a lot of they basically showed a robotic mama kill from Lord of the Rings as in one of the trailers. Like, it literally looks like you fight the Haradrim from Lord of the Rings. So I'm like, love me some Lord of the Rings. So yeah, another game Craig isn't going to play, but I think Horizon Forbidden West looks like it could be a sweet game.
It looks a lot more summery and tropical as well, doesn't it, this one? The last
Yeah.
one was a lot of snow. And
Hell of a lot of
it went
snow.
from snow to like deserts and that
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah, you literally go over a bridge and you go from
Yeah.
like tundra to the desert. It's great. Video
Yeah.
games,
It did have some of the best weather effects ever, that game, to be fair, the first one.
And this was obviously a key component of the magical 6 months of PlayStation that Craig played over the couple of
It
years ago.
was.
I
Before
love.
that, just start collecting dust.
I just love that you bought a PS4, played like all the good games, and then was like, "Yep,
Yeah.
no more for me."
I'll go play. I'll go play with the good controller now instead.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I'm hoping the DualSense is a cool ass controller. When I get my hands on it, I will let you know. But are you excited for Forbidden West, Pengy?
I am. I always put it on this list. I almost made a list of 5 PS games. Pretty much.
It should have been good for a person that doesn't own a PlayStation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you finish Horizon
And
Zero
we won't
Dawn?
be getting one this year if me and Dave have our way.
You'll have
But
one.
also, if I did have 5 PS5 games, it would like sort of like go, this is why would like a PS5 because I'm anticipating these 5 games. But I thought I would mix it up.
Yeah, we've had this discussion off camera as well, and I have no energy to go back in circles in between you two arguing about the PS5. So, Craigo, pick number 3.
Pick number 3. I've got quite a few left. I thought you'd have some of mine. I'll go for Psychonauts 2.
Ooh,
Another Game Pass game.
that was going to be my Xbox game. So
I'm so sorry, Dave.
that's okay.
I've ruined it all for you.
It's okay.
Um, you shaked a lot there.
Yeah,
actually.
carry on.
So I don't think I've ever played a Double Fine game ever. I realised this the other day. So this
many
would
good
be my
ones.
first. Yeah, and they're all on Game Pass as well now. All
Pretty
the point
much,
click
yeah.
adventures and all that sort of thing, and they're all quite short as well, I think. So yeah, this would be my first. It looks great, and it's got the obviously soundtrack by Jack Black, which will be exciting.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it just looks like a fun platformer. Looks very spaced out. Looks like it looks like a solid Game Pass game, as you'd say.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, Psychonauts' biggest problem was that it's sold badly. So the fact that it's on Game Pass is like a big blessing for it. I mean, AAA 3D platformers other than Nintendo are not massively a thing. They've kind of been coming back the last couple of years.
It's
Obviously,
been
Sony's pushed it a little bit more, which I'm glad because it's the thing that I hated about the PS4. I think the PS3 had a lot of good platformers, with the PS4 didn't. So it's good that Sony are pushing that again. It's obviously as well, the thing about Psychonauts is it is one of the games that we published on PS4 as a Xbox Game Studios game, which is quite interesting. So it will have that splash screen, I believe, when you load up on the PS4.
I'd love it if they did a Game Pass like advertisement in that splash screen.
Oh, that'd be great, wouldn't it? I mean, they'd get in so much trouble, but it'd be hilarious. It will no doubt be a good game. So I think it's a great pick. It's a great Game Pass game, you're right, because I think a lot of people will try it and go, oh, actually, this series is really cool. And, you know, you can play Psychonauts 1 and backwards compatibility on the new Xbox. I really want them to port the Steam version to Xbox. It would be such a low cost thing for them to do, and it would be so much better to play that game with achievements and like a slightly better resolution. Because even the PS2 version that's on PS4 is just the PS2 version. It has trophies, but it does, but it's just the PS2 version, which is the worst looking version of the game. Whereas the Steam version was a remastered version of the game. It has higher textures and stuff, so that'd be cool. But you should play more Double Fine games. I've told you this before. You need to play Brutal Legend. Brutal Legend is such a Craig game. It's weird, but it's such a Craig game. The soundtrack alone is like pure Craig. It's great, and it's on Game Pass, and you can beat it in about 6 hours. Like, it's...
Is that one of the like adventure games, or is that?
No, that's a third-person action / RTS.
Oh, I know the one. Yeah.
Yeah, with it's all about the metal. So yeah, definitely play that game because it's on Game Pass. Obviously, Pengy, you'll be playing Psychonauts on your Xbox. Are you excited?
Yeah, I am excited. I've not played the first one either. I've played bits and pieces of Double Fine games, and I've never really gelled with them. Most of them being point and click adventures. That's what when I think Double Fine, I think Grim Fandango, Manic Mansion, all that sort of stuff. And I never really clicked with them. But obviously, Psychonauts
That's a great pun.
platformer.
Great pun.
Yeah. Obviously, Psychonauts is a platformer, so I mostly will like it more. But
they're a
like
great developer.
On Xbox, it's the OG Xbox version. It's going to look better, auto HDR and stuff. Played on the Series X. And if I played it on PlayStation, okay, it'd be trophies, but it'd still be PS2 game. So, like you said, if they bring over the Steam version, it'd be, that would be pretty good. And you think with Psychonauts 2 coming, you'd want more people to try the first one going into the second one. The only weird thing is just like the one in the middle, isn't there? The VR one.
Yeah, it's a spin-off game, Rhombus of Ruin, on PSVR, but it's a spin-off game.
I don't know if you can make that like not VR.
I don't think it's massively essential for the story, but it's just a kind of fun game. And you both should play more Double Fine games. I think Broken Age, don't think it's on Game Pass yet, is a modern version of their point and click games, and it has Elijah Wood's one of the main characters, and Jack Black's in it obviously because he's in all their games, which is really good. I'm trying to think what else they've got on it. Massive Chalice, which was a gold game years ago, it was a really fun RTS that they published. It was really good. I think Headlander was them as well, which was pretty fun.
Yeah,
Have
they
they made?
published that.
Do they make a Sesame Street game, or they make like a?
Yeah, they made apparently. Yeah, I was actually weirdly talking about 360 games. A couple of people this weekend that was brought up for like good 360 exclusive still that aren't like backwards compatible.
Yeah, because it's a Kinect game.
Sesame Street
That's why.
was-
But
yeah,
it
'cause
was
Kinect
a
game.
really good game, which is funny because Tim Schafer's
Didn't
a
they make
madman.
like a? It's not it wasn't Puppeteer because obviously that's on PS3. But didn't they make something similar to that as well?
Yeah, it wasn't like Mystery Science Theater or something,
Yeah.
something like that. But yeah, unless you're thinking about Voodoo Vince, which is definitely not Double Fine.
No.
But
It was it's definitely a Double Fine Connect game that
Yeah.
I feel was a bit like Puppeteer.
and if you can stomach the point and click adventures, Day of the Tentacle and Full Throttle, which are now on Game Pass, are fantastic games. But you have to kind of have a bit of an old school.
Do they have any
mindset.
stupid puzzles like click the goat 20 times or whatever? It
I mean,
was in
probably like
one
all of
go?
those games had them. Like all of them had them. It was great stuff. I used to love Broken Sword. You people are uncultured swines, I say.
Mm.
So that your number 3, Peng? We just
My,
talked.
my
Craig.
last one.
That's my brain.
That was my
dead.
number 3.
So let's
So
go
it's
with
either
Pengy's
my
number
last
3.
one or your
Let's
last
go.
one.
No, let's go for you,
So my
Pengy.
last one is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, so it's not on PS4 like Horizon. And it is a platformer as well. And it's one of the few games apart from Medium that looks actual next gen, and that's Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, so good. So tell us about Ratchet and Clank, Pengy.
Ratchet and Clank is obviously a platformer. So I see a lot of people don't seem. It's mainly Nintendo people don't seem to think it's a platformer because you use.
I was about to say I would call it a platformer.
Kind
From
of
the little
like-
bit I played of the one before.
It's kind of like an action platformer, right? I guess.
Yeah.
It's
So
not a third. It's
obviously
not a
players-
third-person shooter, despite the fact it's a third-person game where you shoot stuff. It's
Yeah, I was doing a lot more shooting than I was platforming. I'd say.
yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, you play as Ratchet and Clank. This is also a weird one. It's a sequel to the last PS3 game, not the PS4 one, which is like a reboot based on the film. So that's an odd one. If you're like, oh, I've played the PS4 one, and you think this would be a continuation of that, but it's not. The next genness of it is obviously the load times, how it can load like the next level in a level, and like jump between levels like really quickly, and obviously the ray tracing and that on like Ratchet's fur, and especially Clank being all shiny, being a little robot.
Being a little robot man. Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, like Insomniac is like a pretty flawless developer, to be honest. So you're probably pretty good. I mean, Ratchet and Clank as a series, I think it's had like 10 or so games. I mean, one of them is bad. So like, yeah, fair play. The 2016 game that came to PS4 was very, very good. It's a very, very good game. So Rift Apart will probably be one of the if and when I buy a PS5, will probably one of my favorite games of the year. So it's a solid choice. And again, it's the thing at the minute that kind of Sony have, I guess, is that we actually know some games that are coming this year. So they, we don't know when, but we know Ratchet and Clank will be coming this year. So
It was supposed to be a launch window game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this was
but-
their big like flagpole game on it for their launch window.
yeah, and it's the game they showed the most gameplay of. They showed more of that than they did of Sackboy or Astro's Playroom or anything really. Maybe Bar Spider-Man. They might even showed more than they did show Spider-Man, to be honest.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think like I said, they showed a lot of it because of the.
because it has the
the ray
tech.
tracing.
Yeah, and
And
it
it
was
has the
mostly the
tech.
same level though. To be fair, and I think that the playable press demo was mostly the same level. So it's again with COVID and post Cyberpunk, people are not going to release games unless they're ready. There's just no point. But that's a guaranteed. It'll come out this year for me. Like it'll probably be out within the next 2 months. As soon as they're able to sell more PS5s, I think they'll put it out. Because if they can get another, the rumors I was reading today is that they're trying to sell something like 3 or 4 million PS5s per month. So if you start to get into March and there's suddenly 10 plus million PS5s out there, then most of those people are probably hungry for games. So you put a game out around then, you're gonna make some money, aren't you? So
Yeah.
it's not the same as
Well, if you
Xbox
go-
with their strategy, and it's not the same with Nintendo just being Nintendo. So
If you go by previous companies' launch windows, it would either come March. Obviously, that was Infamous, which was about to come out on the launch window for the PS4, and Pikmin 3 came out in the launch window of the Wii U, and that was 7 months after launch. In like
yeah, but
July.
that was the Wii U. Let's not
So-
beat that dead horse.
It's a
Thank you.
loose term, isn't it?
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
not.
so I think for 6 months after launch, is when it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's different with a Sony compared to a Nintendo as well, because you will have third-party games. So if you have a PS5 or you have an Xbox Series X, there's plenty for you to play. So you're not like, if Xbox didn't have third-party, you would be sat there going, well, when's Halo come in? But really, you're like, I can play the medium. That's cool. And I can play Hitman if I wanted to. I know Craig won't, and I won't. You probably won't.
Right.
But you can play Far Cry when that comes out and stuff like that. So nice. So I suppose on the fly now, I need to think of my third choice game. So I don't know.
Do you want me to tell you my 2 that didn't make it? They might give you inspiration.
Go on then, mate. I know you're dying to say it, so let's go.
So, my multi-format game of choice, Scarlet Nexus,
Nice.
which obviously is a JRPG from the Tales team, heavily promoted for Xbox. I'm kind of hoping it comes straight to Game Pass, considering the promotion of it. But it might not. Like Yakuza 7 was heavily Xbox, not in Game Pass yet, so who knows that. And
We haven't seen that for a while, have we?
No.
You saw the big trailer at the Microsoft event, and then nothing since, I think.
They showed it. I can't remember. They showed it. I want to say like in October in Tokyo Game Show. They showed a bit of it. Also on Xbox, at like Tokyo Game Show, it was like the only game that's shown on like Xbox. So yeah, it's obviously a deal. There, like I was saying, if it comes to Game Pass, it'd be great. And then my Xbox game of choice is Tunic.
Yeah, that's coming soon as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just down 2021, but it's been coming soon for like the last
Like
5
2
years.
years.
So.
Yeah, I remember seeing it. It's like a Zelda-y, top-down Zelda, Dark Souls-y type of game.
Fox.
There's a little fox with a tunic and a little sword and shield.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So we've let Pengy sneak 2 more in, make him feel better. So mine is actually, this is gonna really upset Craig. Mine is a third PS5 game, but so I'm anticipated for this year, but I probably won't play it this year. So it's a bit of a Pengy one. I'll probably play it next year when it comes to Game Pass, and that is Deathloop from Arcane Studios, and the Bethesda and Microsoft studio that they now are. I've never really played Dishonored. It always looks like a kind of interesting series, but it never. The threat of having to be stealthy kind of stops me. Like, I really like the art style and the setting and stuff, and I'm like, do I want to be stealthy? No.
To be fair, in the first one, you can not be at all. That's the only one I've played, but you can choose to just butcher people if that's...
As you know, Craig, there is achievements for this, achievements for being stealthy. And Deathloop just looks a bit more manic. It looks kind of gives me Bulletstorm vibes. Like, it's kind of like, so I need to get from A to B, and I need to do it as stylishly and as chaotic as possible. And I'm like, that's kind of interesting. A really interesting mechanic with the whole like Groundhog Day thing, that you just die and come back, and you've got another player or AI, another character hunting you throughout, which is cool. The soundtrack sounds ridiculously good as well from all the trailers they've shown, and I just think it looks like a really genuinely interesting first-person shooter. Because I like first-person shooters, but I kind of dip in and out. Like, I haven't played Doom yet. I haven't the Wolfenstein games I like. A lot of Bethesda games here, but I played the odd Call of Duty and I play Halo. But other than that, I haven't really delved deep into different types of first-person shooter. So, and I kind of missed the 360 constant shooter age that we had for a while, where we had games like Bulletstorm and stuff like Time Shift and all these other weird games. So yeah, I kind of like the look of Deathloop. Like I said, it is almost certainly going to be a 2022 game for me, because I think that's when it's going to come to Game Pass. But
I think the deal was 6 months, isn't it, on them?
Yeah, and I'll be surprised if it comes out
maybe December.
Yeah, if it comes out fairly soon, then maybe, because obviously it was supposed to be a launch game, wasn't it originally? Is it supposed to be? Is it dated?
Yeah, it's up for pre-order on my
cool.
PS5.
So if it's if I'm able to play it on Xbox at the end of the year, then I'll play it on Xbox. I'll play it on PS5 if I want to, but it's it looks cool. I think that's one you might actually be interested in, Craig, when you, I think.
Oh, definitely. When it comes to Game Pass, definitely.
Yeah, we need to have a section of this show that is just the Craig Game Pass corner, where he tells us about a Game Pass game every week. Because there's plenty of you to go through.
Just links to the Twitter account for Game Pass this week.
Yeah, you're just right. So
the Game Pass game of the week
is Walking Dead episode 1, season 1 now. So that's our anticipated games.
PES, surely this week.
eFootball PES, mate, best game.
Yeah.
that's our most anticipated games for 2021. We have got one more. We've got bold prediction, as I've dropped on the boys before the show. So, Pengy, have you got a bold prediction for 2021?
Bold prediction.
In gaming terms, obviously.
We will get... Obviously, it's changed from what the original plan was, because I was going to say my most anticipated game without a date is Final Fantasy 16. But bold prediction, I think we'll get Splinter Cell this year from Ubisoft.
Ooh, I kind of hope you're right. I don't think...
This year? What, shown this year or comes out this year?
It will come out this year.
They are crazy enough to do it. They are crazy enough to... They have nothing to the end of the year, do they, at the moment?
No.
They've also just delayed like 3 games though, haven't they?
Yeah, but they're French, aren't they? You know, they just do not care for this word. We gotta make it.
No, but like you look at last year, they had Immortals, Watchdog, and Assassins all like pretty close together.
All 3 of them got delayed though, and they were announced before.
I'm just like,
it's a bold prediction. This is the point of being a bold prediction.
What is their big November game? Unless Far Cry gets pushed all the way back November, but that's just 1 game compared to 3 last year. So
yeah, it's interesting.
Time to bring Fat Sam Fisher back.
I think they will announce it this year, but I don't think it's going to come out this year. Much like Beyond Good and Evil isn't going to come out ever. I think Splinter Cell. I don't know.
Also, when was the last time we had a really good stealth game? Like,
couldn't tell you because they're all rubbish. Am I right, Craig?
I'm struggling with that too, Pengy. Although I did play the last one. I did play. Was it Blacklist? Was the last?
Yeah, Blacklist was the last one. Yeah. And to be fair, the last good stealth game was Sly Cooper 4.
Yeah, I was gonna say Hitman January, but I've never liked the Hitman series. I just think it's a time, it's a genre that could be capitalized on.
It's like because Hideo doesn't make them anymore.
No.
So, Craig, you got any bold predictions in that Xbox riddled mind of yours?
So, well, I don't know if we could really say it's a bold prediction, but I'm kind of stealing from Randall 4 that Horizon 5 will come at the end of the year. Obviously, straight to Game Pass.
Yeah.
It's been, I think it's 3 years, since the last Horizon.
That sounds mental.
It's 2 years or 3 years,
isn't it? So it could be.
Yeah.
It's 2019, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
So I could definitely see a Forza game coming.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, this is more hope than probably actual sense, because Motorsport doesn't really excite me at all, whereas Horizon definitely would. But yeah, I could see that. I definitely think that once this Bethesda deal goes through for Microsoft, they will then suddenly open the gates of hell and all of a sudden they'll be showing all these new games. But I think that would be one that could actually come sooner than later, as opposed to something like a Fable, which will be, next year or even possibly the year after that.
Yeah, well, they have 2 teams and they know how to make that. And that engine knows how to do driving games. They would literally just have to, but they'd have to make art assets. It's a much less pre-production than, say, a whole new series. So it could happen. I'd love it to happen. There's a lot of rumors about it, which is always a good sign. There's no smoke without fire and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'd
weirdly mentioned Forza Horizon on the forum earlier because on the Fantasy League, I think it's Jay picked Forza Motorsport and went for that, and I was thinking, nah, I know we've seen Motorsport and we've not had one for that would be 3 years because it was on off like every year. But I just think Horizon, we've heard so much. Well, I know we haven't heard anything because not seen anything real. But there seems to be too many rumors for that compared to proper Motorsport. I think
it would be weird that we'd get
next year
the unannounced game first, as opposed to the game that we know is coming. But it just seems the timeline wise to work out better.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess for my bold prediction, so I got a runner-up bold prediction. My second bold prediction is that the Xbox Series V is true, and there's going to be a digital version of the Series X. But my main prediction, and you're not going to like this for this year, is that some part of Halo Infinite is going to get pushed to 2022. I think probably the single player.
Yep.
I don't think. I think you're going to get early access Game Pass multiplayer, and you're going to get that in November. And then the single player is not going to all hit this year. I think the single player will come out 2022, like around March or something like that. Don't want to be like that.
It sounds like they want to kind of rip it up and start again, doesn't it?
It does, and
So-
they cannot afford it to be bad. They cannot afford that single player, especially to be bad. They could put the multiplayer out as its own thing. They've already said it's going to be free to play, right? So they can put that out on Game Pass and free to play, early access, chuck a preview thing on it, and just let the game build itself up. Might as well be its own game at this point. And then Halo Infinite single player, that can just wait and just till it's ready. There is no need for it to come out this year. There's plenty of games to play. So it would suck for Xbox, but they have, like I said, if they get the Bethesda deal closed, and they can get Deathloop in November, and they can get Tokyo, whatever, Ghostwire, whatever it is after, and they can get all these other games.
That would be like March, April 2022 for
Yeah,
Ghostwire.
But if they can get all these games right, these are coming to Xbox. You get trailers for Starfield, you get trailers for Indie, you get trailers for Elder Scrolls, you get whatever else that these people are making. There's probably plenty of Bethesda games alone. We get Senua's Sacrifice 2 as shown a bit more. It's not coming out this year, but like they could show more of it. Get Fable, get Perfect Darks. They don't need Halo to be this year. They needed it at launch and it didn't happen. They might as well just wait. It just doesn't matter. If you want an Xbox, you have an Xbox. Like I said, anecdotally, I know one person that has purchased a PlayStation, and that's Pengy, and it's broke. Everyone else that I know that has a next-gen console has an Xbox. I literally don't know anyone else who has a PS5. I don't know if you guys have got people at work that that have, but I genuinely do not know a single person now that has a PS5.
No.
It's not just because it's hard to get. Like, I know plenty of hardcore gamers. I want a PS5. You know what I mean? Like, it's the Xbox is just a better deal at the moment. That £250 box is. I know a lot of people that have already just gone. It's easy to get hold of. I can take a hit on it. So we'll see. I mean, there's some good predictions and some good anticipations for the year. I think it's still going to be a good year for games. Whether the world is a good year, I suspect not. But I think we'll have plenty of good games this year, boys. And all of Craig's will be on Game Pass.
Yeah.
So let's do another prediction because I think it's fun. Let's do some fun predictions about each other. Okay. So I'm going to predict one for Craig, one for Pengy. So my first prediction is for Pengy. He will have a PS5 by May. Are we taking it or leaving it, Craig?
May. I reckon it could actually. No, actually, yeah. I would say June or July. So.
Okay.
I
So
was going to say, you say May. I was just trying to think what's coming to PlayStation. Returnal is March. There's nothing in April. May would be Deathloop. So it'd only be like 2 games.
I still think it's going to happen. I think May. I think
Yeah.
I'll buy one first, but I think he will have one in May. So before you make
And
that
as soon
prediction,
as you've got one, Dave, that will be.
yeah,
I
There you
think
go.
Craig would be closer if Horizon is the summer, June. Did you say June? Craig.
June, July, yeah.
Yeah, I think if Horizon is the summer, Craig could be more onto it than you. Because Returnal is not a system seller. It'd be a good game.
I mean he's right though. The second I've got
Especially
one,
at 70 quid.
and if my trophies get closer, Pengy,
Mm.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I could do it. I could take over on trophies. Achievements are gone now. I'm not willing to spend hundreds of pounds on Ratalika games, but trophies, I've got plenty of trophies in the back pocket, And my prediction for Craig is that he will not purchase a single full-priced game until Cyberpunk 2077.
So what
That
we're
even
classing
counts-
as full
To
price.
say would that even count as full price?
So a full-price game will be a game that retails for at least £45, and you will pay the £45.
yeah, Cyberpunk by November or whatever, it'd be like 20 quid.
Yeah, but
Most probably.
even then,
I'm trying to think if there's anything.
I genuinely don't see a game that's announced that you will buy. It could even be the whole year, but I still think there'll be the odd, like, you'll get bored and you'll buy Call of Duty or something. Like, I don't think...
Maybe Resident Evil, depending on when that comes out.
Yeah, we're getting a showcase 21st of January for Village.
I could see you waiting. You're a patient man. There's lots to play. If
The,
it
the
was,
problem normally is what comes out on Game Pass at the same time.
yeah. So if
So
there
if something else
if
is
this
coming out on
Psychonauts say
Game
comes out on Game
Pass,
Pass, yeah, I'll
exactly.
play that.
Yeah, I'd just play that instead. And then by the time I finish that, Resident Evil will probably be cheaper. So
That's what I mean. Like, it's very rare that I mean, other than COD, which you immediately sold, Dirt
Yep.
you didn't buy full price. Immortals you haven't bought
Nope.
full price. What else have you even bought? Like,
Watch Dogs. Did get Watch
did you buy
Dogs.
full price?
I did get Watch Dogs.
There you
Yeah,
go.
I got that at launch.
So that's your one game for last year. What did you buy? 2 games,
I'm
3
gonna-
games full price last year.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Pengals
don't
has
actually know
bought
Resident
more
Evil.
this year, I think.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, Doom I would have paid full price for.
I
Probably
reckon
like 4 or 5 maybe last year.
Craig's first game. I'm not 100% sure if he likes it or not, but will be Prince of Persia.
No. I will take that bet. Craig will not buy Prince of Persia full price.
But I was going to say it's not.
It's
it is
£35.
budget-based.
Craig will not spend £35 on Prince of Persia.
It didn't look amazing, did it? From
And
the little showcase
you've
they
never
gave.
ever been like, I love Prince of Persia. You've never ever been that guy, and that's the only people that are going to buy that. At
I
full
played the
price.
360 one, but that was it.
Yeah, like you don't
It
know.
will
You
be
don't know
Ubisoft.
your
And it's
audience.
Ubisoft,
Pengy.
so it'll be half priced.
In
It'll
a
be
week,
a Ubisoft
yeah.
game. It'd be Far Cry 6 maybe. Or Riders Republic.
It'll be.
something
It could.
like that.
I mean, I could even. It could even be COD. I mean, Resident Evil was a good shout. It could even be COD. I genuinely don't think Craig's going to buy that many full price games. He's not going to buy FIFA. He's not going to buy PES. Like, there isn't an Assassin's Creed this year that we know of, right? So, and everything else is going to come to Game Pass. The boy knows what he's doing. That's why he's got so much money. So, let's go to you, Craig.
It's a solid prediction.
Let's do some predictions from Craig for me and Pengy. What do you think? What's in the dark recesses of your mind, Craig?
So I'll start with Pengy because he's he's
easiest.
slightly easier.
Yeah.
Pengy will buy another Switch this year,
Ooh. Did you buy the Switch this year?
and I reckon,
I bought one like last week, didn't I?
yeah, it's the start of January, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon it will either be some sort of limited edition shenanigans or the fabled Switch Pro, and I think Pengy will buy another one, then sell the one he's already got again.
I don't know if I want to take this bet. Because I don't think he will. I think if the Pro comes out, he will.
Oh, I think he will.
I don't think
Oh,
he's
definitely
going
if
to
the
buy.
Pro
I
comes
don't
out.
think because unless the Monster Hunter hasn't got one, I don't think there's another Switch game that's not already announced that he'd buy a special edition for. Unless they do
Is
a
there
Shin Megami.
another Mario game coming?
Oh, he don't. There's
Is it 3D
already
World?
there's a Mario special edition that's coming out now. He's not going to buy that.
Okay.
It looks really nice though. You should buy it. But I think
I don't like
the
it. I don't
only
like it.
chance for him would be a Shin Megami Tensei special edition. That's the only chance. I don't think that game's coming out. So I'll take that bet. No, that's not going to happen.
That's left.
So just to be clear, Dave, you have bet on Chris McGilly not buying a console here. That is
Yeah, it's a bold prediction. It's a very bold prediction, but I think so. Yeah, I think so.
and then
Craig just
for
sat there.
Dave,
Craig's just sat there waiting, and hopefully a Pro is true.
Yeah.
100%. For Dave, I reckon Dave will end up buying something random, like another stream machine. I reckon Dave ends up
Or
buying
like a Luna.
to
or
go with his
something.
did, like a Luna, something that's maybe unannounced, something that's a bit weird out there. It's not £400, it's a nice £100 price point. Dave sees it, pounces on it. That's my prediction.
I mean, it's a good prediction. It's just whether there's something like that coming out this year.
Mhm.
That's basically it. Because the problem I've got is I get bored quick, so
Mhm.
I'll just buy something. So I mean, you know,
And that £100 price point, Dave, that's
it's nothing. I could buy an EOGA for that.
You can.
I can't. I don't know if it will happen. I think because of the PS5, I think my girlfriend would actually murder me if I bought anything else. She'll only allow the PS5 if I get rid of the PS4. So it's, and I already know someone's going to take that bad boy. Don't you worry, I sorted that out. But yeah, could happen. I don't know. There's nothing announced now that I'm like, you know what, I want to buy an Atari VCS. So I don't know. Right, Pengy, it's up to you, mate. Me and Craig bold predictions.
I just thought of one now for Dave because
Okay.
of what Craig is saying. Dave will buy in a television Amico.
Definitely not.
A what?
I would
In
not buy it.
television
I've got no
Yeah.
nostalgia for it in television, Peggy. I've got no like. At least I had a Jaguar for the Atari. Like I've got no reason to buy in a television.
You see it come out in April. If it's 250 quid, it'll be a total flop. And then, like, it'll be October, it'll be on Amazon Prime sale, and it'll be like 99 quid or something. And you're like, for 99 quid, I'll get that in Amico. I can play Earthworm Jim 4, because I love
Huge.
Earthworm Jim so much on the Mega Drive.
It's huge.
That is.
I disagree.
To be honest with you, Pengles.
Yeah.
I think that'd be more likely a Pengles prediction than a Dave prediction. I think you've predicted yourself there more than Dave.
100%.
Oh, Craig, you're much harder, Craig, because you're pretty much just Xbox.
It's not pretty much. He is just Xbox.
And pretty much Game Pass.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe, like, a prediction is you finish a JRPG or something, a new one comes. That's like,
Ah.
I finished Dragon Age.
Dragon
No,
Quest.
Dragon Quest.
Dragon
You
Quest.
should play Dragon Quest because it's rad. I'd love you to play Dragon Quest and prove him wrong.
maybe something new comes straight to, like I was talking about Scarlet Nexus, maybe that does come straight to Game Pass, and it's like in August or something, and like, oh, this new Game Pass game, I'll give it a go, and it's real-time combat as well, not turn-based. That's the thing with Game Pass, you play games that you don't normally play as well. 'cause
like
sound,
Haven,
It's
to be
sound
fair.
logic.
Yeah.
There is. Because to be fair, Haven could well have been,
Haven is
it's
an
a
RPG,
Japanese style game
just made in France. Or
Yeah.
somewhere like that.
by CD Frenchman, yeah.
Like they all are. And there's also one more thing that we've completely forgot to talk about, but we'll just say it now. Is if the AEW game comes out this year, we're all buying it and we're all streaming it. So that supersedes any predictions. If the AEW console game comes out,
I'm surprised that wasn't on your list, Dave.
it was on there, but I was like, I don't know if it's going to come this year. But if it does come this year, like I guarantee it that I will be playing it and I will stream it with Craig and with Pengi when he buys it as well. I don't care if it's bad. It can't be as bad as the WWE games, can it? Let's be honest. So yeah, that was another successful episode.
And
of,
if his game comes out this year, which it won't, then I'll definitely buy a PS5.
What game are you on about?
Well, if Kojima makes a game, like,
The one he's fingering at the moment, that right there.
Here's a prediction. I'll play Death Stranding this year and I'll hate it. There's a prediction for you. I'll buy it for like a
And that should
tenner.
also be a stream, to be fair.
Oh.
That should definitely be a stream.
Only
Just
if
Dave
you-
hating the
Only
world.
if you co-stream it with me. If you sit there and watch me struggle through it, then it's fine. Just questioning
emotional
everything,
support.
and just Pengy popping in every now and then. Oh, have you seen it, Dave? Anyway.
We'd have to have Pengu to come in to explain the plot to us, obviously.
Oh yeah, and you could just tell me why there's Horizon Zero Dawn characters in it and stuff, and I'll be like, what? What are we doing? Another poll prediction: Chris Pengelly won't finish Days Gone. Anyway.
Oh, that's that was such an easy one we've missed there.
Okay.
But he sells it and buys it again
Oh, he'll
when
play
they
it.
do
He'll-
a
I don't have
PlayStation 5 enhanced version.
I'm pretty sure it comes free with the PlayStation 5
Yeah.
now, right?
Just gonna say, yeah.
So he will play it. But that is the end of the episode. Thank you so much for joining us for this very chaotic episode of Pod of War. We will be back next week. We'll be doing a regular show next week, so I won't announce the tots yet. We'll announce the tots on Twitter. You can follow the show on Twitter at Pod of Wars with an S on the end because, you can follow me at AUF Gizmo. You can follow Pengy.
Master Das.
I don't even think. Do you even use Twitter, Craig?
Don't follow me. Don't do
Don't
it
follow.
yourself.
You can follow him on Xbox at CW Lanky. Okay, just fucking peruse his achievements and tell him what Big Dick G is. But yeah, thank you everyone. We will see you next week.